Alright, what's going on everyone? It's Super here and welcome to another character tutorial. And today we're going to be covering Swamp Thing. Now, Swamp Thing is one of those characters that you don't see too often online, but when you do, you're like, wow, this character looks awesome. And I got in a lot of positive feedback for my Swamp Thing gameplays, which I appreciate. So I'm here to pretty much give you like a basic tutorial for the character. Like always, I always just try to provide like the basics of the character, and then once patches start coming out, and because characters are going to change, then later on I'll do more in-depth stuff. But let's get started here with Swamp Thing. Of course, any of my tutorials will be linked in a playlist in the description. So Swamp Thing is very, very slow. So the character is meant to be a bully, pretty much. He wants to get you in the corner, he wants to get his trait out, he wants to bully you. His command grabs do a lot of damage. Just one of these command grabs, you could actually control it. If you meter burn one of these command grabs, that's 24% or 248 damage. And of course, the competitive mode is on, so stats don't affect the characters at the moment. So he is a bully. He has a lot of 50-50s with some of his strings that lead into overheads that you can mix up with his low log, and I'll talk about some of the mix-ups here soon. And all right, so here we go. Swamp Thing stand 1 is not going to be used in anything other than sometimes anti-airing, because it has like a pretty good hitbox, and it's not reliable all the time, but at certain ranges, like this, if you see your opponent jumping, you could definitely catch him, and you could combo into something like that. And your main source of standing 1 is just going to be comboing after something like this, and then you use 1-1 into command grab, or you could use standing 1 into green thumb, which is another combo ender. But 1-1, you're not really going to use it too much. You can use it to punish, but you can also use his down 1 to punish, and it could lead to some pretty good damage as well. Let's see. Back 1 is low. It's very slow, not gonna lie, but you can catch people off guard with this sometimes. It goes into back 1-2, which of course you could special cancel. But 16 frame low, it is only +2. I mean, it is +2 on block, so there's like no backside or downside to it. You could throw it out there occasionally, but it has almost no range. As you see, it has almost no range at all, so your best bet is just gonna be like off a jump in. You dial it in, and if it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, it doesn't. His down 1 is his fastest button at 7 frames, and if you are tight on the punish, you could of course do down 1 into this, which combos, and you could get some pretty nice damage here. Comboing this is a little bit tricky because a lot of the gravity gets used up. Do something like that. 33% off of down 1 is not bad at all, and it is his fastest punish. But of course, you can punish with stand 1 and go into something like this, which gives you a little bit more damage. 36%, about 3% more. His stand 2 is the slowest overhead in the world. No one will ever get hit by this, so there's no reason for me to talk about it. Now, his back 2 and his forward 2 are like his main source of offense, all right? So forward 2 goes into this string right here. It actually has 2 strings, and both of them serve a purpose. So back 2 is a 12 frame mid. It's pretty good. It has good range. The one you're going to want to use for range is his forward 2. I'll get to that in a bit. But his back 2 could definitely be used for pressure, because he has back 2-2-3, which is a meterless launcher for him. And you can combo off of that without needing meter, but it's very tight. Let's see if I could even get it. So you could get this, and then you could get a forward 2 afterwards, but it's a really hard link. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it here, but you can definitely get that, and it could net you some pretty good damage. All right, so there you go. That is 35% meterlessly. It might be a tight link for me because I haven't practiced it too much, but it's a way for you to combo meterlessly. And it's back to it also, it has nice range. So let's just say It might not be a good example with Soups here because his forward 2-3 has amazing range, but let's just say you're playing neutral and stuff, and you know it's a really good way to whiff punish people. Say, I told you guys it has so much range at the end. And that's like the little hard link right there. So definitely practice on that because it's pretty good, because it's a good way to get meterless damage with Swamp Thing, which normally he doesn't have. Normally you have to spend the bar meter doing this launcher right here to actually get some decent damage. But he does have some tight links to get to meterless damage. He also has back 2-3-2, which is it's a mid to low to mid. And the cool thing about this is it is completely safe. The first part of it is completely safe at -5. You could keep on going and you could keep being safe, but the thing is you can't cancel this ender. So you could go back 2-3-2-3 and it ends in an overhead. So if you finish the entire string, you're not going to be able to cancel it, but it does end in an overhead, so you could actually do, you know, your low log if you want. You can backdash the final part, but this part you actually cannot backdash, and it's completely safe. So I definitely recommend pressuring with this tool. It's very nice. So now let's move on to probably his most important string, which is forward 2. Now forward 2, I think it's the furthest reaching mid in the entire game. It covers a lot of ground, and it's really good because it goes into a nice combo string, which is forward 2-3 or forward 2-3-3, which is this right here. It goes into a double hitting overhead, and this is where you could definitely mix with Swamp Thing. So you could go mid overhead low, you could go mid low, or you could go mid overhead overhead. This is another one of those combo strings in which you could, you know, hit confirm into that and get, you know, something like this, which is pretty good damage. I mean, 40% pretty much. Or you could do the entire string, and if the opponent does get hit, you could meterlessly get some good damage. Let's see if I can get it, because similar to the other one, it is a little bit of a tight link. But I got the other one, which is, in my opinion, harder. So there you go. That is a good way. 37 meterlessly is very good off of a string that starts off from like 2 character length and ends in a double overhead, in which you could at any point mix your opponent up with the low log. I think it's pretty good. So those are like the 2 hardest combos that he has, just because the links between back 2-2-3 into the forward 2 are a little bit tight, and same thing with the overhead. But it does just take some practice mode to, you know, get familiar with the combo strings. And if you meter burn it, it does a little bit more. I wouldn't recommend it because, as you guys saw, it was 39% by default, and that bumped it up to 40. Wow, 1% less for a bar of meter. Definitely would not do that, but meterlessly, it's some good damage. Of course, all these combos you could end in green thumb at any time, but the trick is you have to do only one stand one instead of doing 1-1. So it will look something like this. If you want to end in green thumb and have the option to, you know, side switch, have the option to, I'll talk about green thumb, of course, but that's a way to end in green thumb. All right, so now as far as his anti-airs, his down 2 isn't the fastest in the world. I find that it does get beat a lot, but of course, if Swamp Thing does catch it with his down 2, it's gonna do pretty good damage, because just by default, if he does catch someone, if he does anti-air someone, as you guys see, I'm like, it traded. But even if it trades, you know, you're still gonna get some pretty good damage off of an anti-air. So any like down 2 that Swamp Thing does, even if it trades, you're still going to be able to get some nice damage. So there you guys have it. Moving on to his combo strings. Now, just looking at his combo strings, a little intimidating, right? He has a good amount of combo strings, but really the ones that I showed you guys are the primary ones that I use. If you guys want to experiment a little bit more, definitely do so, but his most important ones are 1-1 for finishing combos. Down 1 into this right here, and of course his forward 2-3-3, which is the absolute most important string for him, and of course back 2-2-3 and back 2-3-2. Really important combo strings for Swamp Thing. So those are the main ones. Now let's talk a little bit about his moves. And of course, you guys know about the lock kick. It's a low. It goes almost full screen, and it has a pretty good active window. See, it doesn't quite go full screen, but it has some nice active frames, and it does a pretty good amount of damage at almost 10%. The Vine Grab is definitely good for comboing your opponent. It's his most damaging combo ender, and when you meter burn it, you could actually control if your opponent ends up on the other side, or you could control what side your opponent ends up in. But it's good to know, and it's a command grab, you know, so a lot of people have trouble with the down, back, forward command grabs, and this command grab is just down, forward 1. So it's definitely good. Let's see. All right, so Green Thumb. This is his one of his best pressure tools, because Green Thumb you could actually tick throw off of, and if you guys don't know what that is, it's pretty much if your opponent blocks and he doesn't jump out of the way or backdash or meter burn back 3 or forward 3, he's going to get hit by the command grab. Let's have him off of reversal. So if you do a down 2 on block or something like that and your opponent does not jump out or backdash, Green Thumb is going to hit him, as you guys see. And I believe Green Thumb is a mid. So some of the command grabs in the game are highs, meaning you could duck them without... Yeah, so Green Thumb is actually a true command grab, meaning you cannot duck it. Some command grabs are highs, meaning your opponent could just duck them, and the command grab attempt will go right over their head, and they could get punished. Not with Green Thumb. It is a true command grab, true mid command grab. And it leads to different options, which are very interesting. So I believe the only tick throws that Swamp Thing does have is down 1 and down 2. Let's see, 1-1, yeah, 1-1 doesn't work. Forward 2 doesn't work. Yeah, so I think just down 1 and down 2 are the only tick throws that Swamp Thing has. Let's see, back 2? No, okay. So yeah, I think those are the only ones. Let's have him stand again. And off. All right, so Green Thumb has a couple different options. You could do stand 3 afterwards, which is, I think, the most damage you could deal to your opponent. You could do stand 2, which is a side switch. It does a little bit less damage. Or you could press the 1 button to have your opponent be restood in front of you. Now, this doesn't have too much hit advantage. It's only +1. So realistically, you're only going to use this option in the corner. In the corner is not bad, because you have a 7 frame down 1, +1, at least you get a down 1 check, you know, most of the time. So unless you're in the corner, you're really not going to be using this one too much. Now, the interesting thing is, if you actually get someone in a combo and you're low on life and you have some meter to burn, you could gain a little bit of life. So you do something like this, and you press the meter burn button. As you guys saw, Swamp Thing actually gained 8% of health, which is pretty good. You know, it could be the determining factor whether you win that match or lose, because 8% is a big deal. If the magic pixel is a big deal, a lot of times 8% is going to be a big deal. So if you do have a meter, a bar of meter to burn with Swamp Thing, you want some extra life, you do Green Thumb, and then you do the meter burn button, and you could still finish the Green Thumb options. Now, keep in mind, if you do it twice, you cannot do the option. It just like knocks your opponent down, because you gained 16% health. And so the game doesn't let you finish the option of either slamming him, doing the most damage, or side switching, stuff like that. But if you do it once, you gain 8%, and you could do the other options of Green Thumb. So those are like the primary moves that Swamp Thing has. He does have a couple other ones, which is this one. This is, I believe, his only true invincible wake up, meaning that if your opponent is trying to, you know, attack you, his attack is going to go right through you if you wake up with this. And the cool thing is that you can meter burn it to get a little bit extra damage. Well, not a little bit, a lot of extra damage, because it's you know, it's a combo launcher. So definitely keep that in mind. If you are getting pressured, I would recommend you use this, but you have to be very careful because it is a high. So your opponent will be able to hit you on the bottom unless you meter burn this, which if you meter burn it, you're actually plus on block. Let's see how plus you are. You are +6 on block, so that is pretty good. And it does have a nice hitbox. And, you know, since the game is new, a lot of people don't know how to stuff it. Now you have your tackle, which is very good. It does have some invincibility frames, if I'm not mistaken. Either that or it's just very fast and it low profiles some things. But I find myself waking up with this a lot. And anytime that you do want to maybe gain a little bit of meter, maybe do a little bit of chip, you could always end your combos on block with the tackle, because the tackle is only -3. So it is completely safe. Or you could try to commit to one of your 50-50s in case you think your opponent is going to get hit. And then once you see that he doesn't get hit, you know, you could definitely meter burn the tackle. You could see that it's going to hit and you meter burn the tackle. So the tackle is definitely his main source of offense. Whenever, you know, you want to punish somebody, you go with the meter burn tackle, boom, boom, and that's about 40%. So his meter burn tackle is like his best combo starter. So Abigail's Garden is his trait. Now the interesting thing is, when his trait is out and Superman is on it or anyone is on it, he's actually bound to the garden, meaning that he cannot backdash, he cannot jump out of it. So this becomes really strong in the corner. One thing I will say, it's very, very slow to call out, and if Swamp Thing gets hit, of course it goes away. But in the corner, I think it's pretty strong because your opponent cannot jump out of your tick throws. So if your opponent is respecting you in the corner and you have Abigail's Garden out, if you do like a down 1 command grab, there's literally nothing he could do unless he does a meter burn back 3 or meter burn forward 3. He cannot backdash it, he cannot jump over it. So it becomes like a really nice tool in the corner. And you're gonna want to have your opponent in the corner as much as possible, because it actually becomes a little bit easier to incorporate your mix-ups here in the corner. And if you do have your opponent here, you know, you could get your little bit of damage and you could restand your opponent and be a little bit plus. And if, of course, if you have your Garden out, he can't jump over anything. So it becomes really, really scary. And as you guys see, that's one of the problems with the Garden. It follows the trail of Swamp Thing's steps. So if you do call it and you don't like knock your opponent down, your opponent's not even going to be on it if he's just in the corner, unless he walks a little bit forward. But the corner is definitely where Swamp Thing shines. You know, you pretty much do the same combos, or you could even do like, you know, something like that and still be able to combo. That's something that I like to do just because it looks cool. Now, I don't know if that's max damage or not. You guys could definitely search up some YouTube combo tutorials for Swamp Thing, but I like doing this just because it looks cool. You know, at any time you could call this, leave him restanding, check him with your down 1, try to start your mix, and Swamp Thing in the corner could definitely be very, very scary. So that's gonna be the end of today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something about Swamp Thing. I think he's a lot of fun. He definitely struggles versus zoning characters just because he's very slow, and you know, he just struggles versus quick projectile characters. Now you do have this, but of course if you trade a projectile with something like this, you know, that's 5% compared to some other characters, and they might knock you down and you might be in a bad situation. So I definitely think with characters like that he struggles. But other than that, I mean, his forward 2 is amazing. He's really good in the corner. So you definitely have fun with good old Swamp Thing here. So that's going to be the end of today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.
What's going on? It's Super here, and thank you for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you guys subscribed if you are not already. Also, check out any of these videos linked at the top. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.